From the moment you were born, invisible forces began shaping how you think about money. Your family installed beliefs through repeated phrases. Schools trained you to be an employee, not a wealth builder. Consumer culture conditioned you to solve problems with purchases, and now these programs run automatically in your mind, controlling your financial decisions without your awareness, keeping you trapped in patterns that prevent wealth building. This isn't conspiracy theory. It's documented psychology and behavioral economics. Research shows that poverty literally changes your brain function, reducing cognitive capacity by the equivalent of 13 IQ points and creating thought patterns that perpetuate financial struggle regardless of your actual income. The stress of financial scarcity consumes mental bandwidth, leaving little capacity for long-term planning or optimal decision-making. You absorbed money scripts before you could critically evaluate them. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. Just be grateful for what you have. These beliefs operate like invisible software, limiting what feels possible and comfortable. If you unconsciously believe wealth is immoral, you'll sabotage your own success. If you believe there's never enough, you'll feel anxious, regardless of how much you accumulate. The education system, financial industry, and consumer culture all benefit when you stay financially dependent, spending, borrowing, working, never accumulating enough to break free. But here's the liberating truth: programming can be rewritten. Once you see the specific mechanisms keeping you poor, you can consciously choose different beliefs and behaviors. This video exposes 3 primary systems that programmed you for poverty and shows you how to recognize and override them. Are you enjoying this video so far? And where in the world are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. The first layer of poverty programming comes from family and culture, the money scripts, beliefs, and emotional patterns you absorbed from parents, relatives, and your community before you developed critical thinking skills. These scripts run automatically in your adult life, controlling financial decisions without your conscious awareness. Every family has money scripts, unconscious beliefs about money learned through observation and reinforced through repeated messaging. Common poverty scripts include: money is the root of all evil, creating fear of wealth. Rich people are greedy, corrupt, generating guilt around wealth pursuit. We can't afford that, programming scarcity thinking. Money doesn't buy happiness, discouraging wealth building. Just be grateful for what you have, suppressing ambition, and there's never enough, perpetuating scarcity mindset. These phrases seem harmless, even wise, but they're psychological barriers. If you unconsciously believe rich people are immoral, you'll sabotage your own success to avoid becoming one of the bad guys. If you believe money doesn't buy happiness, you won't prioritize earning it. If you believe there's never enough, you'll feel anxious regardless of how much you accumulate. The beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. Research on subconscious programming shows that our minds operate like icebergs. The conscious mind is the visible tip, while the subconscious lies beneath, constantly influencing decisions even when we're unaware. The subconscious controls approximately 95% of our thoughts and behaviors, including how we handle money. Therefore, lasting financial change requires examining and reprogramming subconscious beliefs, not just learning new conscious strategies. Psychologists identify that even when people escape poverty financially, the poverty mindset persists, a pervasive feeling that there's never enough, even with abundant money. This happens because emotional programming runs deeper than financial reality. You can change your bank balance without changing your subconscious beliefs, and those beliefs will eventually drag your finances back down to match your internal programming. Generational poverty creates particularly strong conditioning. Survival behaviors developed during genuine scarcity, spending money immediately when you get it, because in poverty, you had to address urgent needs before money disappeared. Become maladaptive in stable environments but continue running automatically. This explains why lottery winners and high-income earners often end up broke. They never reprogrammed the scarcity operating system. Cultural programming reinforces family scripts. Consumer culture teaches that spending equals happiness, status comes from possessions, and you deserve to treat yourself constantly. These messages keep you in consumption cycles, trading money for temporary satisfaction while building zero wealth. The entire cultural narrative, from advertisements to social norms, conditions you to be a consumer, not an investor. The role of emotions in financial decision-making is profound. Fear, anxiety, shame, and impulsiveness drive poor money choices, while intentional emotional management cultivates healthy financial habits. Research shows that poverty generates shame, which causes people to hide struggles, avoid help, make fear-based decisions, and develop unhealthy relationships with money, all of which perpetuate financial difficulty. Breaking free requires conscious reprogramming. Identify limiting beliefs by examining your automatic thoughts about money. Challenge their validity by questioning where they came from and whether they serve you. Replace them with empowering beliefs aligned with wealth building. Visualize yourself as financially secure to rewire subconscious patterns. And take action that reinforces new beliefs, creating evidence that contradicts old programming. Wealthy people operate on different scripts. How can I afford this? Abundance thinking. What would this purchase cost in lost investment returns? Opportunity cost awareness. Money is a tool for freedom, empowering relationship, and I deserve wealth and it helps others. Guilt-free accumulation. These aren't innate. They're chosen, practiced, and internalized until they become automatic. If you're starting to recognize the invisible programming controlling your financial decisions and want to understand the other systems keeping you trapped, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel. We're working toward 1,000 subscribers, and your support helps us expose these mechanisms and teach real financial freedom strategies. Thank you for being part of this community. The second layer of poverty programming occurs in schools, and it's devastatingly effective because it operates under the guise of preparing you for success. The education system wasn't designed to create wealthy, independent thinkers. It was designed to create obedient workers for an industrial economy. That programming remains embedded in modern education, even though the economic landscape has transformed. Think about what school actually taught you. Sit still for hours, follow instructions without questioning, memorize information for tests, compete for grades given by authority figures, and accept that mistakes are punished rather than celebrated as learning opportunities. This is perfect training for employment and the opposite of what wealth building requires. The education system conditions risk aversion that follows you into adulthood. Every wrong answer reduces your grade. Every mistake goes on your permanent record. You learn that the safe path, study hard, get good grades, secure stable employment, is the correct path. This deep conditioning makes entrepreneurship, investing, and wealth-building risks feel dangerous and irresponsible, even when they're mathematically optimal. Financial literacy is conspicuously absent from standard curriculum. You learned algebra, history, and literature, but not how compound interest works, how taxes function, what assets versus liabilities are, or how to build passive income. This isn't oversight, it's design. A financially literate population is harder to control through debt and consumption. The hidden curriculum taught you that success means employment progression. Good grades lead to college, college leads to jobs, jobs lead to corporate ladders. This path creates excellent employees but terrible wealth builders. You were conditioned to seek security over opportunity, guaranteed salary over unlimited upside, and employer benefits over entrepreneurial freedom. Research on behavioral economics and poverty reveals that the education system and surrounding economic structures create cognitive limitations and biases that make optimal financial decisions difficult for those without specialized knowledge. The system doesn't teach financial optimization because the system benefits when you don't optimize, when you consume, borrow, and work without accumulating wealth. The grading system itself programs poverty thinking. You're taught that 100% is perfect and anything less represents failure or mediocrity. This creates perfectionism that paralyzes action in adult financial life. Wealthy people understand that 80% execution beats 100% planning, that good enough launched beats perfect delayed, and that taking action with imperfect knowledge creates learning. The education system also programs you to see money as the goal rather than freedom as the goal. You chase higher salaries without questioning whether salary is the optimal wealth-building vehicle. You never learn that wealthy people minimize earned income, highest tax bracket, and maximize investment income, lowest tax bracket, or that employees get taxed first, while business owners get taxed last. Timing matters too. By the time most people encounter any financial education, if they encounter it at all, they're in their 30s with established spending patterns, debt obligations, and fixed mindsets about money. If schools taught financial literacy, entrepreneurship, investing, and wealth psychology at age 15, entire financial trajectories would transform. The delayed or absent education is strategic. Maintaining economic hierarchies requires keeping financial knowledge restricted. The system rewards conformity and punishes deviation. Students who question authority, challenge established methods, or pursue unconventional paths face resistance, punishment, or marginalization. Yet these are exactly the traits that enable wealth building: questioning assumptions, finding better methods, and creating unconventional value. Breaking this programming requires recognizing that employment is one wealth-building tool among many. Not the only path, or even the optimal one, for most people. It means understanding that education provided you with capabilities, but simultaneously installed limitations. It means seeking financial education from those who have built wealth, not from systems that profit from your financial dependence. The third layer of poverty programming is societal: the consumer culture and financial systems designed to keep you spending, borrowing, and working while building zero wealth. These aren't accidental patterns. They're engineered mechanisms that extract resources from you and concentrate them elsewhere. Modern capitalism perfected psychological conditioning for consumption. Every advertisement you see is programming to believe you need things you don't, that spending creates happiness, that new products solve problems, and that your current possessions are inadequate. This conditioning runs 24/7 through every screen, creating perpetual dissatisfaction that drives consumption. The credit industry engineered poverty through normalization of debt. They created good debt, mortgages, student loans, versus bad debt, credit cards, distinctions, when the real distinction is whether debt finances appreciating assets or depreciating consumption. They invented minimum payments that feel manageable but trap you in decades of interest charges. They normalized 30-year mortgages, 7-year car loans, and revolving credit. Structures that keep you perpetually paying interest. Research demonstrates that financial stress literally reduces cognitive function. Studies found that poverty-induced stress causes IQ drops of 13 points, equivalent to losing a full night of sleep. This impaired decision-making creates cycles that perpetuate poverty. Stress reduces judgment. Poor judgment increases financial problems increase stress. The system benefits from this cycle because impaired decision-makers make profitable mistakes. The keeping up with the Joneses programming is particularly effective in the digital age. Social comparison has always driven spending. But social media amplified this dramatically. You're now comparing yourself not just to neighbors, but to curated highlight reels of thousands of people, all showcasing their best purchases and experiences. This drives consumption and prevents wealth accumulation. The 40-hour work week itself is programming. It keeps you busy enough that you can't build side businesses, learn new skills, or invest serious time in wealth building, but not so busy you revolt. It provides just enough income to survive and consume, but rarely enough to accumulate significant capital. This structure maintains economic dependence. You need the job to survive, so you can't risk losing it by pursuing alternatives. Retirement programming is another trap. You're taught to put money in accounts you can't access for decades, giving you no financial flexibility now while institutions profit from managing your capital. Meanwhile, wealthy people access capital immediately to build wealth faster through business and real estate. The delayed gratification narrative benefits institutions, not individuals. The scarcity programming around money is reinforced constantly through media focus on economic problems, risks, and threats. This keeps you in survival mode, focused on protection rather than growth, avoiding loss rather than creating gain. Fear-based decision-making rarely builds wealth. Behavioral economics research reveals that poverty creates unique psychological constraints that make financial decisions more difficult, reduced mental bandwidth, redirected attention toward immediate needs, and impaired capacity for long-term planning. Understanding this helps explain why poverty perpetuates. It's not just lack of money, but the psychological effects of that lack that impair the decisions needed to escape. The solution isn't blaming systems, it's recognizing programming and consciously choosing different behaviors. Question every financial belief you hold, especially ones that feel obviously true. Seek financial education from those who have built wealth, not from systems profiting from your poverty. Understand that financial freedom isn't about earning more first. It's about thinking differently about money, time, assets, and possibility. You weren't born to be poor, you were programmed to be poor. That's the crucial distinction. Programming can be identified, challenged, and rewritten. Your financial future depends on recognizing the conditioning you received and consciously installing new programming aligned with wealth building rather than consumption.